Hey guys, welcome back. This is Davin with davindeedoodles, and thank you so much for joining me. Today we have something a little bit different. As you can see, this is not an original art piece, but I have started doing a lot more adult coloring and invested in one of Johanna Basford's books. This is the first one from her that I've gotten. It's Lost Ocean, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's very intricate, it's very detailed, and so I started doing a lot of work. It's just something that helps kind of put my mind at ease at the end of the day, and since it's not technically one of my own illustrations, it helps me kind of zone out and not consider it work so much. It's more fun. So as you can see, I've actually started on this book. I've only been using my Faber Castell Pitt pens, but I had originally intended to do like every single page in this book, including like the printing info and like the belongs to page, but since it's Shark Week, I thought that it might be interesting to do a particular page in this book with you guys. I had already started it, and it is technically a whip, but I mean, it doesn't mean we can't finish it together, right? So this is something that I tried, and it was very scary for me to do because I've never watercolored in this book. I've only used my pens and my gel pens. So watercoloring in this page scared the crap out of me. And what I did was, there is a second page of sharks, but I only did the one page because on the back of this one, I mean, it's cute little images and stuff, if you guys can see, but I wasn't going to be heartbroken if I didn't end up able to color this page, like if the warping was too bad or anything like that. So I only did this side as opposed to this one where there was an image I actually cared about on the other end. So I went ahead and I had already kind of started on the penciling for this one. But like I said, it's a whip, and I thought you guys might be interested in coming along and joining me as I try to finish this up and pick out colors that will look good for my oceans within my sharks. So I'm going to zoom you in, and I'm going to get some stuff picked out, including colors. I'm going to find my gel pens wherever they ran off to, and we will get right back to it. Alright, so this is definitely one of my favorite images in the book, and it just so happened Shark Week and, you know, sharks, and it's very doodly on the inside. What I originally wanted to do was just kind of do a watercolor... Ooh, that was scary. I wanted to do like a watercolor ocean on the background and then just color in the sharks completely, but then I had the idea it would be more fun to actually put the ocean inside the sharks themselves and then just add like bright colorful corals and stuff like that for their little doodly details. So I was actually really impressed. I've never used colored pencils in this book either, and the only colored pencils I currently have are my Faber Castells. I have the 36 count set polychromos, and they're really nice. If you know how to use them, I guess. It depends on the day whether or not I do well with them, and a lot of it's just patience, and patience is not my strong suit. So I was really happy with the fact that this just lays down really well. I wasn't expecting this paper to take pencils as good as they do. Now I also have my ColorIt gel pens. Everybody on ColorIt was raving about how they loved ColorIts, and okay. I had never used gel pens before, but there was one picture in particular I really wanted to try with them, and so I figured I would go ahead and invest, especially for the sparkly ones, which for anybody that knows me, that's going to sound a little weird, but I really wanted to try it because I thought that this would just be kind of ideal. And it really is. They're not bad. Some colors like this one seem to be a little more scratchy, but that's okay. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. I'm trying to figure out if I have any gel pens close to this yellow, and I don't know that I do. That might be close enough. So I'm just gonna kind of get to it and talk because I've never done one of these before, but I figure I watch enough ColorTube that maybe I could get involved with that community as well. I really enjoy it, and I like hearing about other people's stories. So I'm just not sure where to start. I always get kind of, because I don't want all my colors touching. I'm gonna just put yellow here. So, a little bit about me. A lot of people, especially in the coloring world, might not actually know who I am. My name is Davin, and I do have the art channel davindeedoodles, which you are currently watching. I do a lot of illustration work, and what I mean by illustrations is basically I just draw pictures and I color them in. And I'm trying to get better with like my own style and deciding what I like and all that stuff and what medium I prefer to use. So it's kind of an adventure, but it's a lot of fun. And I have just been I stumbled into ColorTube by accident, actually. I don't remember how I found it, but it was just one of those things that one minute I was watching an art channel and the next minute I believe it was Anne on A Colorful Life that I originally found. I was watching one of her videos and I was captivated, and I couldn't believe at first that people would watch like long videos of someone coloring. And yet it's so relaxing for me. I love watching you guys color. I mean, even if it's a really long video, I will sit there and watch the entire thing half the time. And a lot of the time it's on when I'm just doing my work. Like, it's on in the background, and I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of jump in on this myself, because maybe I can inspire somebody else, or maybe, you know, make some friends on the YouTubes and all that stuff. So I guess my first question is, if anybody else has this book, which I know a lot of you do, have you... Well, okay, Johanna Basford tends to be one of those illustrators that people either love her or they hate her. Like, I know a lot of people prefer something like Jade Summer, where it's like centrally focused on one character and it's not as busy. So I guess my question for you guys out there is, do you have Johanna Basford's Lost Ocean book? Do you have any of her other books? And do you prefer her type of illustration to, say, the simpler illustrations? I will say that something I noticed was when I first picked up a coloring book. I decided I was going to because of ColorTube. And I didn't know if I was going to like it at first. I honestly, I wanted to like it. I really wanted to like it. And I got a Jade Summer book, like the best of, like, the witches, no, not the witches, like the fairies, mermaids, dragons, and vampires. Excuse my sniffles. I don't know why I'm sniffling suddenly. I think it's because I cleaned and, like, stirred up animal hair, but... So, I originally invested in a Jade Summer book. And when I got it, I was a little bit put off originally. Like, I didn't care for it as much as I was hoping I would, because I was using these polychromos that I'm using now, and I went straight in for a mermaid, and I wanted to do a character. I wanted to do a character with a nice background, and that might have been my mistake, because I was not terribly happy with what I was putting out into, like, I wasn't happy with the image, because it required so much patience, and the character was so large, and the background in the sky was so big. I just was not, I didn't care for it. I didn't like it. And that wasn't, you know, obviously what should be the case. You should like your, you know, books and stuff like that. And I was really put off from it for a long time. And then I kind of came back to it eventually, and I was like, well, oh, sorry, I'm throwing stuff around. It's not that bad. But it was like, Jade Summer put kind of like a sour taste in my mouth. and I didn't want to try any other coloring books. I thought it was just me not liking it, and I didn't want to invest any more money in it. And I was like, all coloring books are going to be on this paper, or all coloring books are just going to be this boring. Well, then I found Johanna Basford, and I don't know what possessed me to consider it, but I bought it. And I was really glad I did in the end, because Johanna Basford's style is vastly different from Jade Summer, as everybody knows. And it was the busyness that I needed at the end of the day. Like, I needed to be able to sit down and just relax and just kind of color in these weird doodly things and not put as much thought into it. And I think the issue I had with Jade Summer, one was the paper, which, you know, everybody seems to like know about the paper issues there. Everybody except for me, who never experienced it before. But I just didn't know what I was getting into, and so I was kind of disappointed. Well, now that I know what I'm getting into and I have a better understanding of it, it's like, okay, now I can kind of figure out what I'm doing here, I guess. Like, it's not as bad. And I fell in love with Johanna Basford. Like, I color in her almost every day. And yeah, that the pictures that I showed you are pretty much all that I have done for someone that colors in it every day. Like, you would think I would be further along, but I take my time and I just kind of zone out and I let my brain relax a little. So, and it's nice because it's not characters, and I think that's really important because I do a lot of character work on my art stuff. Like, I draw characters, I color characters all day, and so getting away from something that looks human and looks familiar and looks like a character, that's relaxing to me. Like, this is a shark. It's very clearly a shark. It's not in my brain processing as necessarily like work, which is really good. So, because not everything needs to be about work. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you have to let it go and just turn off your brain. And for someone like me, that's extremely hard because I just have one of those brains. Let's just put it that way. I have one of those brains. So I'm just kind of having fun with gel pens right now. I don't think I want to go that route though. That's too red. That's too pink. I might not have a right red for this one. 5. Let's try this one. So I'm trying to get the colors somewhat close, and I'm just not having any luck. But, so, speaking of sharks and oh, that is purple. We're not gonna go there. We're just going to use this thing. And we're gonna do, should we do blue and yellow? We already did blue, so I need a pink or a yellow. I'm gonna do pink, and then I do yellow on the inside. So for those of you that don't know, I grew up in Florida. I grew up in Jacksonville, actually. And one of the things that my dad liked to do with me and my sister on the weekends was take us surfing. And like, we were little, so we weren't able to go on the big waves or anything like that, but we would go and we would try and have fun. And that was kind of like something I'll always remember with my dad, you know, was him trying to teach us and just kind of watching us thrash around and look like ninnies on the beach. But it was always cool. Like, the experienced surfers were always really cool about it. They never, you know, gave us any trouble or anything. And I will never forget, there was one year in particular that we had a lot of shark bites. Now, I don't know what caused it. I'm assuming it just had a lot to do with the fact that there were a lot of people in the water. that kind of thing, and it just makes a bad situation. So we had a lot of people in the water that year, and there were a lot of shark bites. And I don't remember if they were all fatal or anything like that, but it makes me think of this particular instance while I'm coloring these images, because there was one really close to a beach that my dad and my sister and I went to. And this poor kid, like he was, God, I want to say he was like 11 to 13, something like that. So he wasn't very old and he wasn't very big, you know? And he was fishing off, like he was surf fishing, like he was in the waves casting out his line, and then, you know, he would catch his fish or whatever. And that was really common. Like that's something that I do to this day with my mom and my stepdad. And I'll never forget it, because this is what my mom and my stepdad used to do until this happened, okay? He was throwing out his line, and he was in like, I want to say waist deep water. So he's in waist deep water, and you have the waves coming in and all that stuff. And he was throwing out his line. And what a lot of fishermen, including my mom and stepdad, used to do was put the shrimp for the bait in their pockets. And they did this because it was never really, you know, people don't think about the predators in the water. They just think about the fish and about how it was really inconvenient to walk all the way back to shore and then all the way back to your fishing spot to cast out your line. So this kid did what a lot of people did, and he just put it in his pocket. Hold on, I need to take a drink. Yorkshire tea. So he was doing what everybody else was doing and having a good time. Well, unfortunately, during this particular season, a bull shark had gotten scent of his bait, and it attacked him. And this is one of those scenarios that honestly could be and should be considered an attack, because this shark grabbed onto this poor kid and would not let go. And it's like a really scary thing. And he was fine, like he survived, so I feel like it's okay to kind of share this. But I mean, this shark, his brother had to grab him and pull him to shore. And I mean, it kept a hold of his leg for a long time. So this was what I feel could genuinely be considered like an attack, you know? And no, I'm not saying it was like targeting him because he was a person or anything, but it was definitely after him and his shrimp. So this poor kid had this happen to him, and he lived, but it happened on a beach not far away. And so my dad and I and my sister are surfing, and we're, you know, doing our thing. And I noticed it was just my dad and I. My sister had caught a wave and she managed to get into shore. My dad and I are kind of like bobbing around out there waiting for our next wave. And I look over and I see the only way to really say is like I see like nothing. It's completely flat. And I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. You know, usually there's at least ripples or something like on the water. Like it's not normal for it to be this calm. Yeah, I don't know that I wanted to put purple there, but whatever. It's not normal for it to be this calm. Like, and the only thing going through my little pessimistic head at like, I don't know, 9, 10 years old was, oh, it's like the calm before the storm. I remember clearly having that thought, okay? And I'm looking at the thing and I'm waiting on a wave, and there's no waves, and it's just me and my dad out there because there's no other surfers because it's flat. And I see the water between me and the shore start getting really bumpy. And when I say bumpy, I'm not talking like waves, I'm talking like the glassy water, okay, starts like trembling, like just moving around. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, what is that? Like, why is it doing, like, what is this? You know, this is weird. And my dad starts telling me to go to shore, go to shore. And I'm like, what are you talking about, go to shore? There's no waves. And he's like adamant at this point. He's like, paddle into shore. So I'm like, fine, I'll paddle into shore. So I paddle, and a wave actually manages to come and pick me up. And I mean, it was nothing. It was just like a little something to kind of push me to shore. And he paddles in not long after me, and he's like, did you see it? I'm like, what are you talking about, did I see it? And he's like, there was a shark. It was chasing the bait fish. That's what was on the water. That's what was causing it to do that. And I just looked at him, and I have not been so close to crapping my pants in all my life. Like, that scared me. And it scared me so bad, okay? I not only did not get back in the water, I, to this day, have not really gotten back into the water. Like, it was just such a frightening idea that not far away this happened to this kid, and then I was sitting there bobbing around like a big old seal on my surfboard, and like I had to swim past like the hunting grounds essentially to get to shore. And my dad's like, yeah, I mean, at least you got picked up. I had to sit there and paddle around. And I'm just like, sorry, Dad, but no, you don't get any sympathy for me. Like, no. That's scary, dude. So, I mean, that was like my great big shark experience. The only other experience I've personally had with sharks is like when I go fishing and we catch like the little bitty baby ones, like the really small ones that aren't really gonna do anything to you. Except for maybe like, I don't know, they try to bite you, but you just gotta be careful and not put your fingers in their face and you're fine, you know? So like that was, it was pretty traumatizing, I'm not gonna lie. That really did scare me pretty bad. And I mean, it doesn't take much to scare me. To be fair, I am a very big scaredy cat when it comes to all things water. If you believe in past lives, I'm pretty sure at some point in my past lives I was a shipwreck victim and I was taken out by a shark. Like, it's that bad. I lived in Minnesota. Okay, Minnesota, Great Lakes, nothing predatory in the water up there. Would not get in the water. Terrified something was going to come after me. So that's how bad, like, my phobia of the water actually is. But, you know, it is what it is, and I don't like not being able to see things, and things like sharks in particular are just scary to me. Sharks and alligators, because they're ambush. You don't see it coming, and that's like a complete loss of control. You're never, like, ugh. And it's like, I don't even know what's worse, seeing it coming or not knowing it's coming. Like, I don't know. Okay, I need to go grab some more tea. I'll be right back. Did you guys miss me? I feel like this shark is taking a very long time. He's a big old great white, so he probably should. I mean, I'm not exactly in a huge rush, but I hope you guys aren't like super bored. So I'm really enjoying these gel pens. I really like them. So I'm just gonna kind of play with these, I think, for a little bit. So something else that I'm really curious about. I know some people live near the ocean. I mean, a lot of people live near the ocean. But does anybody else have any, like, interesting ocean stories? Or anything like that? Has anybody else had a close encounter with a shark? Oh, okay, so it's not a shark. But this made me laugh so bad, okay? And this is pretty bad. But, like, I lived in the Keys for a short while. My husband's in the military, so we get bounced around. And we lived in the Keys for like 6 months, and I was like 18 at the time, so I didn't even get to enjoy the bars. But we were at a local beach there, and it was a man-made beach. There are actually, as far as I know, no natural beaches in the Keys. That might be completely made up, but as far as I know, you can't even tell these colors apart. Oh well. So as far as I know, they were all like man-made white sand beaches and marinas, you know? So we go and we're kind of enjoying it. And what's nice about the Keys on the Gulf side is you can see straight to the bottom. Usually, like assuming there's no storms kicking up the water and all that stuff. So I'm getting all brave. I'm like, oh, if there's a shark, I'm gonna see it coming. I can do this. I can paddle around in here, no problem. Well, famous last words, because I start swimming around and I get all brave. And the next thing I know is I'm at like the little rope off area. They roped off an area so you don't go too far and get like run over by a boat. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I can do this. I'm gonna go under this. I'm gonna go explore a little bit. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. That's all I gotta say. Please don't. Because it was like a video game, okay? I go to this roped off area and I take a big breath. I've got my goggles on and I'm all excited. I'm gonna be brave. I'm gonna do something nobody expects me to do and I'm gonna go even deeper. Well, I take a big breath, I go underwater, and I'm face to face with a barracuda. Okay, and I'm not talking like a little bitty bear. Like, I'm talking this thing is probably as big as I am, and it is ugly. And it is just staring at me. All these teeth are staring at me. And I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? So I do what any, you know, crazy person that decided they were gonna go swimming past the safe point would do. I turn my little ass around and I start swimming back. Okay? And I'm like getting closer and closer to the shore and I'm like, oh, it hasn't bitten me yet. It hasn't bitten me. Maybe it's going away. And I turn around and I just see this big old shadow following me. I'm like, oh, it hasn't gone away. Keep going, keep going. And I'm like praying I get to shore without any issues. And there's other people there and they have kids in the really shallow water. So I'm thinking to myself, do I say something? Do I just like not say anything? Because I don't want them to get freaked out and I don't want them to like, you know, hurt somebody by accident, or like I don't want them to panic, basically. Like I don't want them to do something stupid because they see the barracuda. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna get out of the water and it's gonna be fine because it'll go away once I'm out of the water. I'll be out of its territory. Because apparently fish have territories, I don't know. And yeah, I was a few steps from land and someone looks over, and he spoke only Spanish, by the way, okay? Like this poor man, like he sees it and he just starts screaming barracuda. So I learned that day that apparently barracuda is the same word in Spanish as it is in English, and people were very, very eager to get out of the water suddenly. I felt so bad. I lured it in, but I was like, I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. I will never forget that. And Anthony's like, are you okay? Like, he's my husband. He's like, are you okay? Like, what was that? I don't know. We're gonna pretend it never happened. We're just gonna keep going. That was pretty bad. So that was probably another moment where I should have been bitten by something but wasn't. And I mean, I went back into the water in the Keys, but I never, you know, I was never, I don't know. My husband tried to take me out on like a little boat. And I panicked really bad once we got away from like shore. We weren't even far out. You could still see shore, but I panicked really, really bad. And he tried to take me kayaking before in Minnesota, where again, there are no natural predators in the water. And I couldn't do it. I had a panic attack. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm so scared of essentially nothing. But consumes me. I think I want to do purple over here. Yeah, so I really don't know what the issue is. And my mom pokes fun at me, and so does my stepdad, actually. They both poke fun at me still because I am scared of it. Like, any water, it doesn't matter what, like, okay. I was scared of the swimming pool as a kid. And I still kind of am, because I'll explain in a minute. But I was afraid of the swimming pool as a kid. And I was afraid of... I'm afraid of the ocean, and I've been afraid of the ocean since I was like a toddler, okay? Like, my mom took me to the beach for the very first time, and she loves to tell me about how I just stood there and screamed and wouldn't go over the sand dunes to go actually see the ocean. I heard the ocean, and I screamed and cried. And, like, lakes, anything that's, like, I can't. The only water that I could actually tolerate and not freak out with is probably bathtub water, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think of what I want to do in here. Do I want to do yellow or do I want to do pink? I think I want to do yellow. No. Maybe I'll do this red. This is like a very busy shark. He's got all the colors. But yeah, I honestly, I cannot tell you what the issue is. Like, and my mom likes to, like, she thinks it's because I saw Jurassic World. No, not Jurassic World. Lost World as a kid. And like the scene where the dinosaurs like drinking out of the pool or whatever, she blames that. Like, she and my stepdad are convinced that's where my fear came from for like swimming pools. But no, what they don't understand is that I saw an even worse movie as a kid. I saw a lot of movies I probably shouldn't have seen as a child. And I'm trying to decide what I want to do more gel pens. I'm really enjoying them. So, yeah, I saw a lot of bad movies as a kid. And one of the ones that I remember very, very clearly is, I think it was called Crocodile or Alligator or something like that. And it involved, you know, a giant alligator or crocodile, whatever it was, living down in the sewers. Because where else is a crocodile gonna be, right? And it essentially lived at one point. Oh, this is really red. I shouldn't have put this here. Oh well, it's gonna be here now. So, in the particular scene I'm thinking of, okay, I don't remember anything else about this movie, so I know this is what triggered it. There was an alligator, like one of the giant mutant alligator things, in a pool. It was just hanging out in the bottom of a pool. It was nighttime, and there was this kid that was being led by his friends, blindfolded. They were gonna push him in the pool and like scare him, and I remember that scene so clearly that I just, like, to this day, it makes me cringe and it freaks me out and I don't like it. So that's honestly what brought about my fear of swimming pools. But it even got worse because that stuff actually does happen. Not like, you know, mutant alligator levels. But alligators, they're everywhere. They have a really big range, especially in Florida. Everybody that lives in Florida has seen an alligator at some point, I'm sure. And it just scares me that, you know, snakes can be in your pool, alligators might be hanging out in your pool, And yeah, like I can see that there's nothing down there, but it doesn't mean I'm not scared of it being there. It's an irrational fear, but you know what? I don't care. I'm allowed to be afraid of what I'm afraid of. So, yeah. And it's like, you know, maybe the blob scared me more than... The blob honestly scared me more than Lost World. That's all I'm going to say about that. Because I may or may not have seen that when I was really young also. And, yeah. So to anybody out there with children, please don't let them watch horror movies. They turn out like me. And that is one thing that, you know, horror movies. I love horror movies now, but I was really scared of them as a kid. And my mom did everything she could, like, not to have us watch them. But my dad was the sort, like, if you're scared, just go to another room. Well, you're a kid. You're not going to go to another room, you know? So it's like, please, please, don't do that. Just don't let your kids watch them. I implore you. Because then they'll end up with siblings like me that do horrible things and make it worse. So he's going to have a lot of blue in him still. I think it's just because I'm running out of colors. That's okay though, I like it. So it's getting closer to Halloween. I've actually been to Michael's and I saw really cute figurines of people, like the cute little figurines you're supposed to paint yourself. So I might actually do that on the channel. I'm really curious. And I actually do some sculpting sometimes. I haven't done it in a while, but I've been wanting to get my hands on some clay. And I might do some sculpting for Halloween, like this year. I think it would be cool to do some painting. And I think Anne from A Colorful Life also has like a color along she's going to be hosting. At least I think that's what she's been saying. I can't remember. I only usually half listen to coloring chats sometimes. I'm sorry, guys. But, you know, I'm sure everybody else is kind of doing the same thing. They're just coloring along and doing their own stuff. So that's essentially what I'm hoping is that I'll be able to do some sculpting for October, but I also want to do a color along. And maybe, you know, even like a buddy color, maybe? I just have to be careful if I do that because I don't have many coloring books right now. I have, I think this one. I have the Jade Summer one, which actually has like a couple of vampire pictures in there, which are, some of them are okay, but most of them aren't my style. And then I have other fun stuff. But it's like, I think it's Little Town. It's like one of the My Little Towns and then My Little Town Christmas. So it's pretty broad, you know? Well, it's not broad, that's the problem. I am very restricted right now, but I am hoping to invest in a few more books. I don't know that I'll do any more of Johanna's right now, mostly because I'm in love with the book that I'm currently doing. And I really want to focus on that. But I really like the red and yellow combo. I would like to get more involved and do more like color alongs and buddy colors or something like that. Kind of have a little community going. I would also be, actually for Halloween, I love Halloween. Halloween is one of my favorites. Halloween is a very good time of year for me. I really like the idea of I mean, come on, it's Resident Evil. Like, I love doing Resident Evil fan art. And Resident Evil hand in hand with Halloween, like, come on, guys. Like, it writes itself. So I might have to do some Resident Evil fan art, too. So my idea was to have, like, the darker stuff up top and then, like, the brighter stuff down here. So I think I'm going to really start leaning towards the pinks and yellows. Because with the Great White Shark, the lighter stuff is on the bottom and they're darker on the top, which is also why I colored it the way I did. So we're going to do it this way. I really wish I had a closer pink. Maybe I can look. Okay, hold on. I need to grab some more tea. I'll be right back. Alright, so I want to apologize in advance. I have been like gulping down tea like crazy lately. I'm trying not to drink as much coffee because I've been having the world's most persistent headaches. I actually think it's part of a medication, like a side effect to a medication I've been put on. But dear God, it's awful, and I feel like the caffeine only makes it worse. So I'm trying really hard to like not drive you guys nuts, but it's I'm trying also not to stop every few seconds, but it's, oh God, it's pretty intense. So the price you pay to be healthy, right? But anyway, I really like how this one's kind of coming out. Maybe next time I'll go with like a simpler color palette. He was probably the most complicated of the sharks. So I probably should have done more colors maybe. But you live and you learn. And this really is my first attempt at something like this, you know? So, what do you guys think? Do you like how he's coming out so far? I'm also thinking I'm going to put these guys on in like a talking is hard today. A black background. I really like how that looks on some of the pictures I've seen. So I'm thinking maybe that'll be the direction I go. But we'll find out. I might always change my mind. Because like I said, originally I was going to do like the ocean background back there and have them like swimming through the ocean. But I didn't want to do that ultimately. Do I want to give him a dark? I'm gonna give him a little yellow tip. He can be a little yellow tip shark instead of a white tip. I know somebody out there just cringed, but that's okay. I kind of want to do purple. I might just do purple. I know I wanted to keep this area lighter, but it's okay. Not everything works out the way you want it to. It's part of art. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other ideas. I was actually really surprised. I'm hoping that it was just leftovers from Christmas in July, but I would swear that I saw Christmas ribbon at Michael's. And that just makes me want to cry if I actually did, because I like Christmas, nothing against Christmas, but dear God, people, let's calm down and at least get to, like, let's get to, you know, Halloween first, at least. Does anybody have recommendations for other really intricate artists that do things like this? I've heard her compared to something called Zen doodling, but I'm not sure what that is, and I haven't looked it up yet, which is, to be honest, you know, shame on me. But I have heard that, and I'm not sure if that's accurate, or I did, oh, who was it? I was watching her this morning, I can't remember her name. Oh, Color Me Stress Free. I found this image. It's like a little dragon from Anastasia Cole something. I can't remember her name. But I found her just by accident. I was watching Color Me Stress Free, and she had images from this illustrator, and I fell in love with it. And I want her books so bad. I can't stand myself. But I did promise my husband I would work out of the books I have, for now at least, before I went and started like going crazy buying more. He's always very supportive of like my hobbies and stuff like that, but I just feel bad buying a bunch of coloring books and not using them right away, or not at least coloring in some of them. It's like I should do a haul video. I'm going to do, that's it. I'm going to do like a haul and hoard video to show the art supplies I've acquired over the years. And some of it I've only really seriously started using the past year, but I've been collecting this stuff for like a decade. So every time we go to Michael's, he just like prepares himself to come out with a bunch of stuff. And I try really hard not to, especially because at the moment I'm not working, but you know, it's so easy to like see pretty pictures and then want to buy the pretty picture. And he understands to a point, so. All right, we got him done for now. So let's move on to this guy. I want to do him in oranges and reds. Now he's going to be very Subnautica themed, I think. I do like to play games. I'm not good at games, but I like to play them. And I've discovered Subnautica recently. I really, really like it because it's almost, if you don't play along with the story, it's basically like a crafting game. Kind of like Stardew Valley, but underwater. Which, as we've established, me and water, even fictional water, don't always do the best. So, yeah, it should be interesting to see how that goes. But, you know, we're gonna try and see. Oh, that's full yellow. 16. I'm pretty sure this gel pen's a little dry and scratchy. This is really annoying, actually. So I just lost like my heating lamp for my plants, so that's why you see a lighting change. My husband is also blending up his own little McFlurry ripoff, so that's why you hear a blender in the background. So I'm really sorry. But it's not going to be forever. So this is going to be Subnautica themed. I wanted him to be lighter in the front and then gradually get darker. So I think I kind of want to follow that with my colors also. No, I want the brighter colors to just be their own thing. So in Subnautica, there's an area that has nothing but like red grass. So I'm going to make the grass red. And okay, I don't know if anybody games. Are there any gamers that are watching this video? If you do, please leave me a comment and let me know what you game. You know, what is your favorite game? What types of games you enjoy? What you're currently playing, and what system you play on. I have a computer that I originally bought Subnautica for. And it was a nice, like, it's a nice computer for editing, like, and digital art. But I tried to run Subnautica on my computer and it almost died. Like, it was not having it, so I couldn't run Subnautica on it. But I figured, you know, it is what it is, and I have it on the PS4 now. So it's very, it struggles on the PS4 even, but it's still, it's worth it. Like, the PS4 can handle it. If the PS4 can handle the new, like, Sucker Punch game, I can't say it, I don't remember how to say it. Ghost of something, like the new samurai game, then it can handle Subnautica. But I will say that me and Subnautica don't always get along the best. I was doing fine with Subnautica until I went to a particular area where there are particular giant monsters that decide to eat your ship. And I about crapped my pants the first time I saw it, not gonna lie. Because, you know, that is what I do. That's like my default reaction to scary ocean things. And, yeah, I legitimately screamed like a little girl, okay, the first time I saw, like, the like a reaper. And I've seen comments on Reddit posts warning people that if you can't handle the reapers, you're not going to be able to handle going much deeper. Yeah, I know, guys. Thanks for the vote of confidence. This game probably isn't made for me, but whatever, we'll make it work. Eventually, I'll man up and do it, but not right now. Alright, so we have... So the area I'm thinking of in my game has, like, a lot of green, not green grass, it's like red grass. And it's really pretty. And there's a lot of bioluminescent fish, which this kind of is inspired by. And, like, they're so colorful and they're so vibrant. Oh, and you know what? So this is a little bit more related to Shark Week, okay? And this is kind of, like, random and off topic completely. Because I know I was just talking about a video game, but something I've noticed is that movies that involve sharks are becoming slightly more self-aware. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember seeing Deep Blue Sea as a kid. And it was... Actually, Deep Blue Sea originally was mako sharks, I think. Like, I think they're the fastest shark in the ocean. And those even were originally mako sharks, because when I think of shark movies, I think of it's always a great white stalking someone through the ocean. Like, Jaws started it as originally a great white shark based on a series of true events that was actually a bull shark. We all know that by now. I'm sure we've all heard that story. And that's kind of automatically what I think of when I think of shark movies, is it's always great white. I remember there was another movie I saw that really bothered me because, again, me and my fear of the ocean. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a real story. It's based on a real story about people that their boat sank and they were essentially stalked through the ocean while they were adrift by a shark. And this shark was it was in real life, it was a tiger shark, which is just as terrifying to me as a freaking great white shark, if not more so, because they are the garbage cans of the ocean. They will eat anything. And so, you know, I always think they always make it a great white, I guess because the size, but I mean, you gotta look at a tiger shark, and a tiger shark is freaking huge too. And I was really impressed, though, because I didn't see this movie, but I did see someone do a review for it on YouTube, and I can't remember his name. But he reviewed Deep Blue Sea 2. I didn't even know this was a real movie. Okay, I didn't know it existed. But in this movie, the sharks that are super smart and out to attack and like get everybody are bull sharks. And I thought that was extremely interesting that Hollywood decided to kind of nod in that direction, because when it comes to people, bull sharks are the most dangerous sharks. Bull sharks are able to go into fresh water for a ways. I think that's what I was trying to say before my brain gave out. And they're aggressive. They're able to go into shallow water. They're pretty aggressive, and they're just not very nice. So it's definitely a scary thing. And it's definitely something that I think Hollywood is kind of starting to prey on a little bit, even though in Deep Blue Sea 2 it was a little bit misplaced. Because like they were in like the deep ocean. It would make sense to have bigger sharks, or sharks that like, you know, like you could even pull off a great white in that kind of situation. Because I'm pretty sure bull sharks don't go very deep in the ocean. I think they're more of a shallow water dweller, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not a sharkologist. But I think it's pretty interesting that Hollywood is even starting to kind of like realize that there are scarier sharks out there than the great white, which the great white's just blind and dumb. Which is mean to say, like, it's a great white shark. It's a shark. It's not the smartest animal in the world, but they are very, very important. Critical of the environment, all that good stuff. So nobody be mean to them. Just, I wouldn't recommend you go swimming with them, or, you know, they're not exactly puppy dogs. Which that was something I never understood, is like people that get into the shark cages, I would be terrified. I'm not much of a risk taker anyway, but like I really would be legit terrified. I would never be able to do that. Like, I don't care how safe you tell me I am. Nope. No thank you. I also would never do a what do they call it, bungee jumps or whatever. Like, I would never be able to do that either. I don't do heights. I'm a very bland person, I'm realizing. So, kind of darken this up. So, that brings me to another question for you guys. What is your favorite shark movie? And you don't get to say Jaws. Everybody says Jaws. Like, come on, that's a freebie. It has to be other than Jaws or the Jaws series. What is your favorite shark movie? And do you have a favorite type of shark? Are you one of those people that like knows everything about a certain type? I saw another, man, there's just so much like Hollywood stuff about sharks. This one wasn't a movie though. This was I Shouldn't Be Alive. I think it was one of the first episodes to ever come out, about people whose boats sank and they were stuck in the ocean on a life raft, and sure enough there were sharks, and it's like, oh my god. See, I'm pretty sure I was reincarnated from one of those people. Like, it's the only explanation. It's the only thing that makes sense. Okay. So what I think I'm going to do, I kind of want to make this green actually. I don't think I want to make that yellow. I think I do want to make that a green. because like I said, this is inspired by my game, and my game has really tall weeds that are green. They also have like little yellow clusters on them. Let's get this done. And I think I'm gonna make that purple just because I want to. I see those vine things and I just automatically think of like purple. My headache is getting so bad, you guys. Oh, I'm gonna have to take something again. I'm trying not to take medicine like every time I get a headache, but this is getting really annoying and really bad. And I've had it since I woke up. I've actually had it for the past few days. But anyway, I'm trying not to complain about it even though it's right there behind my eyeballs. So I'm really enjoying coloring this. I hope you guys are enjoying watching. I hope I'm not like boring you to death. I even tried cutting out like the spots where I stop for several minutes to figure out what I'm gonna color, like what color I'm gonna use. But usually when people watch these, they're working on their own pages, so maybe you guys are working on something too. What are you working on? I hope you are. Like, I hope you're working on your own projects. Are you guys doing your own Shark Week drawings? Are you just kind of coloring to Fire and Ice? I know Nikki in Niagara is doing Fire and Ice. I think there's also another coloring challenge running around right now. But I'm just trying to get this whip out of the way and not make it super long. And I really don't want to split it into parts, so if it's too long, I'm probably just gonna like edit it down a little. And I'm not gonna make you watch me do the background, so what I'll do is I'll finish up all this and then I'll post at the very end of the video, which you should watch until the very end so you can see the product. I'm going to have the actual completed image on there. Alright, this is actually not looking too bad. It looks pretty good. It looks like a creep vine from Subnautica. I'm really hoping to have this up tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, I think. So I'm hoping to have this up tomorrow. Share it with you guys. Oh man. So something I always play with the idea of for Halloween is I always get in like a sculpting mood around this time of year. And one of my all-time favorite horror movies is Alien. And I always either want to do like fan art of like a xenomorph or I want to try to do a sculpture of one. And I'm wondering if I'm going to end up doing that this year. But I don't know, we'll have to see, I guess. My issue with sculptures is that they take up a lot of room. And then I don't have any place to put anything because like I'm going to need to keep storing them. I don't sell them or anything. But well, I mean, you know, you should do what you're passionate about. So if I'm really feeling that I need to do a sculpture, I might do it. I know you guys probably aren't like terribly interested in that sort of thing, but it'd be kind of fun. Alright. So I'm not doing like terribly detailed stuff. It's stuff anybody can do, but it's pretty and it's coming out rather well. I think the further up I go, the darker I want it to be. So I'm going to start leaving less and less light green. Looks pretty good. Alright, that actually does look pretty good. For me and color pencils, it looks pretty good. Alright, so I gotta do the final vine, which I think is gonna be a shade of purple. So let me get some water and we'll get back to it. Alright, so I think I'm gonna do pink, like a legitimate pink. Which doesn't look very pink. Oh well. I want to keep it close to red, but I don't want it to be red. And I kind of like the idea of it blending in a little bit instead of standing out. So, sorry if I'm going quiet, it's starting to hurt to talk. Might go over and add a little bit of glitter for the gel pens. I'm really disappointed because the color that matches this orange is extremely scratchy in my ColorIts. I'm not sure why. I think some of them are just scratchier than others, but like I can't get it to write at all right now. So I'm going to not use the orange. I might just do like a couple of reds. And I'm probably going to add some very light shading on these, if at all, like. I'm glad I was as careful as I was when I was doing the watercolor though, because it's definitely harder to cover with lighter colors. So, I think I have a really, let me check this color. Yeah, so. Yeah, this isn't looking too bad. There's very little shading, but it is there. That makes me feel better at least. I don't even know if it shows up on the camera, but go ahead and keep going. So, for those of you that have been to a beach, what is your favorite thing to do while you're there? I know a lot of people that just like to go and like sit out on a beach. And then there's other people that like to do like more sportsman things. Some like to do like the kite surfing, which is pretty cool. Surfing, skimboarding's become really big. Or at least it was. No, I think it is still big in St. Augustine. And like fishermen, I love to hunt for shark's teeth. That's another thing my dad taught me how to do, and I actually taught my husband. So now when we go to the beach, we like to make little competitions and do like you know, who could find the most shark's teeth. And I mean, we have bags and bags of shark's teeth, as well as shark's teeth that we've bought from the local stores. I have a collection of like megalodon teeth. It's like, it's really cool. So I love to do that. I also like to do a lot of fishing. But I know some people just like to go to the beach to chill. So are you one of those, or are you one of those that goes to the beach with like a purpose? Like, what do you like to do when you go to the beach? And if you are going to the beach, please be safe. I just want to put that out there. Little disclaimer, everybody be safe. Don't sit on top of other people. That always irritated me even before COVID. So if I go to the beach in October when we usually go, and there's a crowd and they decide to come sit on top of me, I might not be too happy. I like my privacy, and if I'm fishing, okay, I'm just gonna put this out there for anybody that might do this and not think about it. If there is somebody fishing, okay, and you go to the beach and they were set up there before you were, please do not go go swimming right on top of them, because there are a few things you need to think about here. One is that they are probably catching fish, and with thrashing fish on a hook or with bait on a hook, there might be predators in the area, so don't go swimming on top of someone that's fishing. But even more important, and that always scares me to death, because there's always inevitably that one person that's gonna do it. There's always that one. You do not want to ever have a hook in your foot. Ever. That's going to be the most painful experience, and it's going to make the fisherman feel like an asshole. So do not go swimming in front of somebody that's fishing. If you were there first, maybe, you know, that's different, but do not set up shop on top of somebody that's been there and is currently fishing, and you don't know what they might be attracting to the area, and you don't want to step on their fishing tackle. So I'm just gonna put that out there. It's a common courtesy not many people seem to know. So I'm not trying to lecture or tell you that you're being bad, but I'm just saying, you know, you might want to think about this before you go next time. So I've currently got 2 sharks done. Let's zoom out a little bit. My camera is about to die. That's probably not a good thing. I have got our little buddy up here to finish, as well as down here. I'm going to go take some headache medicine. I think I have a few errands I might need to run. I'm going to do some touch-ups on the blue where the watercolor wasn't able to get in between the leaves. And other than that, we're going to come back to it and we're going to finish strong as soon as my battery is up to par. So I will see you soon. Please don't go anywhere. And maybe I'll have more stories for you by then. Maybe my head won't hurt as much, so I'll be more talkative. Maybe less talkative, whatever's better. So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. The cover of my Johanna Basford book is dirty. I didn't even notice that until I started putting my clips into the editor, so I didn't have to do it all at once. There's like these random green streaks. I don't know where they came from. It's got to be paint or something, so I guess I'm gonna have to color the cover of the books too. I have seen people do that on their Facebook page, but good God, I'm gonna have to do that because this poor thing is getting beaten up. So now that the camera is nice and charged, I am going to be ending the video here. I'm going to split this picture into parts. I know that we are already over an hour in for our sharks, and to be completely honest with you, my headache has gotten bad to the point that I'm nauseous, and the sound of my own voice makes me feel like my head is going to explode. So I really need to get out from under the lights. I need to go into a cool room with just like a dark wash rag to put over my face. So I want to give you guys one last update as to what I did when the camera was off. I'm going to zoom you in here, so just tolerate me for a second. All right, it's even clear and not doing autofocus issues. So we do have our great white here. We've got the nice dark back with the lighter underbelly and lots of colorful corals. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get him up there. Like, there's glitter pens in there. He's nice and glittery. So I was actually pretty excited to be able to use my ColorIt Gel Pens as well as colored pencil and watercolor. I really didn't think that this book was going to handle half of this, so I was super excited. We also have this guy here. I spent the time off camera basically using colored pencils to get in closer to the leaves where I couldn't do the watercolor. So I also added in a nicer gradient for the darkening of the ocean versus closer to the surface. I am really happy with how this one came out. He's probably my all-time favorite so far. But we do have 2 more sharks to do, as well as a background, and I hope that it's going to be exciting and something you guys want to watch for part 2. I am new to this, so any ideas, suggestions, recommendations, I am more than happy to take all of that. If you want to leave me a comment down in the comments, you know, please help. Especially with this particular book, I am very curious what you guys have been able to get it to handle, and I know there are people that use distressed inks and things like that. It is on my radar, but it's also quite expensive. So right now I think I'm just going to play with the watercolors and definitely pencils and things like that. But if you have ideas, if you have budget-friendly, you know, materials you like to use in this book, or if you like to use them in similar types of coloring books, definitely leave me like a link or just let me know down in the comments and I'll check them out, because I'm always looking to expand my art supply. I even use them for my own drawings and illustrations. So I am going to leave this for part 1. Part 2 will be this guy here, and a big old background. I'm hoping the background turns out as well as it does in my head, but we will see. So thank you so much for watching the video with me and for sticking it out for this long. If you do like the content, please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I might be doing more color alongs in the future. In this book, I also have 2 or 3 others I might start coloring out of. And if you want to subscribe to the channel for additional just individual art and illustrations that I do as well, I try to release a new video every Saturday for my own artwork, and I do have something in mind for this week as well. Hopefully my headaches aren't going to be so bad that it doesn't interfere with me getting that out. So go ahead and pay me a visit, and I hope to have part 2 out for you soon. See, my headache's so bad I can't even talk at this point. So I hope you guys stay safe. I hope nobody is getting hit by these nasty thunderstorms we have here in New Orleans today. I hope nobody's flooding and that everybody is good and dry and having a good time coloring or working on their projects. I will see you soon for part 2. Thank you so much and stay safe.